To be fair, you need a 200 IQ to understand Rick and Morty. A meme that blew out of proportion not just on the community of Rick and Morty, but on the entire internet as well. Being a cocky, nihilistic smartass is a personality trait that resonated with the worst kinds of fans of Rick and Morty, because they saw that part of themselves in Rick, perceived him as cool, and from then on associated that mindset with pride, exploding their inner egos outwards and showing it to the people. When you are an outsider, however, you can clearly tell all of this, making the original Reddit poster of this meme a complete dumbass in retrospect, just like our reactions to anyone or anything of similar stupidity, thinking they are in the right. Think about any cringy person who has done something stupid, like Logan Paul with his incident that started 2019, or think about the modern Karens of this year. The most common public reaction to these individuals is that of disgust and hatred, and they are right to some extent in being upset at these moments of ignorance people have. But what most people forget to consider when someone does anything stupid in the public eye is that they forget all of the emotions that come with the stupidity of those actions, or simply that we are all just individuals that don't all share the same kinds of knowledge as everyone else. We might even share it, but it can fade in our minds in moments of anger, sadness, or greed. We're all different when it comes to the unique sequence of knowledge in our brains. Of course, we share similar knowledge, and that's how we're able to teach and work together as a species, but not always at the same time or with the same intensity as our neighbor. Don't get me wrong, I'm not defending the infuriated Karens and the cocky insults of the world. Their actions are still wrong, but I'm just opening up the door of the conversation that the moment of said actions that causes controversy, they didn't know any better. Simple as that. Not knowing any better can sometimes mean that the person is being blissfully ignorant. At least with some things. Some people are just straight up simple. They live simple lives, and that's what makes them happy. When it comes down to it, many smart men constantly humiliate the blissfully ignorant for never being as capable as them. But let's not forget that just because he's smarter doesn't mean he's happier. Take Rick Sanchez for example. He's a genius. Because of this, he's a cosmic nihilist. Nothing ever mattered, matters, or will matter. He will forever search for temporary pleasure and happiness, instead of being content with his life and with who he is deep inside. Because there is nothing that will ever bring him that blissful peace and joy. In comparison, Jerry is superior to him, if only in this. Because as long as he has his wife and children, he has his peace, and no need for anything else. Many videos on YouTube have discussed this topic. What is better, a genius who is forever hollow and miserable, or a blissful ignorant? I have thought about this for an extremely long time in my life, ever since I started watching this show, and I have come to a conclusion that satisfied me well enough to share it. Every single video that I've seen talking about this has either chosen a side explaining why, or said that it depends on every individual to decide what's important to them. And I'll be honest, these conclusions to me are not satisfactory. What do I mean by this? Well, let me explain. You might or might have not noticed this, but I didn't talk about Morty once in this video yet. A little odd, isn't it? He's the second main character after all, not Jerry. So let's talk about good old Morty then. Where does Morty fall on the spectrum? Is he a nihilist genius or a blissful idiot? Lots of people would say he's just a plain idiot, considering the fact that it's his main characteristic of the show. Morty exists to cloak Rick's genius ways. He is the dumb autistic kid that can never do anything right and sucks at school. Right? No, he isn't. Most viewers who watch the show want to be like Rick. They want to be smart, cool, independent, superior to anybody else, and capable of always giving the best comebacks to destroy anyone who opposes them. But if you look deep down, in the deepest, most honest part of the everyday civilian souls, you'll know most viewers are not like that. most viewers are either Morty's or Jerry's. Both good and bad. But for the sake of being nice, let's say most people are Morty's. And that's not a bad thing. And anyone who says it needs to seriously consider otherwise. Because truth is, you should want to be like Morty. Because being a Morty means being a perfect balance between nihilism and blissful ignorance. Morty is the symbol of potential in the show. And this is why. From the bottom of my heart, I truly love Morty. He's my favorite character in the show. For many reasons, of course. But the main one is probably because Morty is basically someone I see when I look in the mirror. You have to aim to become a good Morty, rather than the bad one, however. Let me explain what I mean by that. It's no surprise that Morty is everyone's punching bag in the show. Rick and his fucked up family have been calling him stupid since the pilot. Especially the pilot. Sure, there have been moments of praise, but they are quite rare, and honestly awkward most of the time. This kind of neglect and mistreatment from his family drives people like Morty to usually turn into what I would call a bad Morty. Either they are taken over by the influence of his grandpa, evil Morty, or even Jerry's predator in the skin of prey nature, and end up becoming horrible people just like him and the rest of the Smiths. There is also the case where they are so traumatized that they never develop beyond what everybody already thinks of them. Thankfully, our Morty, C-137, isn't like this. When he's alone, learning his own journeys, writing his own path, being independent, living his own adventures, Morty can show that he's someone that's truly meant for greatness. And you can really see that with the past seasons, especially season 4. He isn't learning this thanks to anyone's positive influence. He's learning this from his family's mistakes. Because believe it or not, Morty is the most emotionally intelligent and mature person in the whole family. He's not extremely prideful and most of the time tries to do the right thing. He's still a kid, of course, and has his moments of immaturity, perversion, greed, and anger, just like anyone. But of the entire Smith family, he's the person with the most potential. Summer is constantly trying to be the most like her grandfather, always wanting to be popular and accepted. Beth is also obsessed with the acceptance of her father because of her trauma with his absence in childhood. And as much as I was talking about the perks of being blissfully ignorant a little while ago, I never said that made Jerry a good person. Like Rick said, he's a predator disguised in prey, whether he knows it or not. And I personally despise this kind of Jerry in the world, especially because my own mother is exactly like this, and so was my oldest brother, who took his life. Saying all of that, if you can tell by now, Morty is the only person in the family that is not either sucking up to someone or being an enormous asshole, that lives selfishly for their own benefits. Morty disassociates from his family. He's as much the black sheep at home as he is at school. He lives in a social circle of relatively bad people. And as much as that is unfortunate, he has learned one extremely important lesson at this young age. My family has taught me something very valuable. They have taught me not to be a person just like them. And I think that's something that many people that come from bad families can emotionally connect to deep in their hearts. And what are the results of that? Well, from season to season, Morty has slowly learned to disassociate himself from his grandpa little by little. He has learned to be his own person, doing his own things, having his own journeys, and learning from them, not to mention creating new hobbies and interests for himself, besides beating his sausage, of course. Morty is becoming his own person. He's taking the knowledge that best fits him and creating his own philosophies about his life. Morty is an optimistic nihilist. Rick taught him nothing matters, but his dad taught him that the little things in life is what bring the most joy. And for someone who hasn't had the chance to show his full potential as a person, because he never had someone close who cared enough to pay attention to him, I said that the little moments in Morty's life are pretty fucking good. They matter to him. So if they matter to him, that's all that really counts. So truly, the best kind of person you can be is someone who puts themselves first, loves themselves first, works on themselves, for themselves, to be happy. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but Morty is the only person in the family in the Pickle Rick episode that liked Dr. Wong and wanted to do therapy. Just imagine if he was allowed to do that every week. Just imagine a Morty that acquired even more hobbies and things that he was passionate about. Just imagine, one day, in one of the infinite dimensions, a Morty got lucky. Because in his school, there finally came a transfer student who knew nothing about him, and who was also odd and had an odd life. And because of that, bonded with Morty, and became his first true, genuine best friend. But yes, true that, am I right? If Morty actually became the best possible version of himself, this show wouldn't be fun, right? Don't make this about mental health. You're gonna ruin Rick and Morty, and it's going to become boring. Don't worry, guys, calm down. I know it would, but that's what fanfics are for, right? Anyways, that's my 4th video on Rick and Morty. Don't judge me, fams. I really like this show and I really like to talk about it. That said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps my channel grow. If you want to be notified of future uploads, hit the bell button because I got a bunch of good stuff coming along the way. Don't forget to follow me on my socials as well if you want to be notified of the shenanigans going on in my life. I hope you have a wonderful day, and remember to stay determined. TTFN, guys!